It's now time for the big story. And we're going to be diving deep into issues shaping Jamaica's political landscape this morning. And we're looking at major developments within the ruling Jamaica Labour Party following Senator Delano Seiveright's surprising decision to pause his campaign in North Central St. Andrew. What does this mean for the party's internal dynamics? And then there's speculation that he could be that the party might have an interest in looking at Christian Tavares-Finson. Meanwhile, there is talk that a female might very well be leaving the PNP and heading over to the JLP. The question then arises, if that is so, is she also going to be considered for that position? There's a lot going on, and there's no better person to break it down than Lloyd B. Smith, a newspaper publisher, political commentator, and a well-known Jamaican. Good morning, Lloyd. How are you doing?
Good morning, Richard B. I'm very fine, thank you.
Thank you for joining me at this early hour. Lloyd, there's a lot happening. First of all, what is your interpretation of Senator Delano Seiveright's decision to pause his campaign? Do you believe it was entirely voluntary or influenced by internal party pressures?
I don't think it would have been entirely voluntary, because if you look at how he had been projecting himself over the past few weeks, he has been out there on the political trail and doing a lot of work, moving around with the constituents and pushing his own agenda as to becoming the new member of parliament should he win. So clearly there must have been other pressures that overwhelmed him and which caused him to, call a halt at this stage. It may well be seen as strategic, in that he may not necessarily want to further ruffle the feathers of those who were not particularly keen on his getting the candidacy.
Mm-hmm.
So
does it sort of smack on internal factionalism within the JLP in that constituency?
Well, yes. The fact is that constituency has been a very safe constituency and has been ruled, if I may use that term loosely, by veteran politician Karl Samuda, who has held on to that seat for a very, very long time. In fact, he has a very distinguished record of having won the seat both in the JLP as well as in the PMP. Because you recall at some point he had parted company with the JLP.
Yes.
When he referred to the party as comprising of wimps, lackeys, and yes men. And then he eventually returned, and to the surprise of some, but not to all of us, who could read the tea leaves, he continually won the seat. So what is puzzling at this point is why is it that the party is seeking to literally diss him? Because if, as Seiveright has indicated, that he has the blessings of Samuda, who is a heavyweight in the party, then, and as at this stage, Seiveright is no longer in a secured position, then it suggests that Samuda has lost his overall sway in the party. And this would also suggest, therefore, that there are some serious rifts developing in the party.
Are you of the view then, Lloyd, that Karl would love to remain but is being told no?
Well, Karl can be very unpredictable in a predictable way, if I may put it that way. The fact is that he had indicated at some point that he was going to call it quits. Then at another point, he said he was reconsidering whether he should return in order to secure the seat for the JLP in the upcoming election. And then out of the blue, Seiveright came back in full force, indicating, in fact, that Samuda was in his corner. And so for many of us observers, we would have thought that that was a done deal because it is it is Karl Samuda's little fiefdom. And if he gives Seiveright his blessings, then we are looking at what you may call succession planning by Samuda.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that at the same time there is young Tavares-Finson, who is the son of a JLP heavyweight, Tom Tavares-Finson, who has continued to express interest in the seat, then clearly there is a, division in the party. It means that there's not cohesiveness. It means that there's not an overall unison as to who should be the one to take the seat. And I would think that Seiveright is on shaky grounds right now.
Wow. Well, in fact, he did say that he was backing off, so to speak, putting a pause on his campaign in the interest of party unity in the statement that he put out. But do you have any credible evidence or strong insider talk, maybe, that the JLP is leaning toward attorney Christian Tavares-Finson at this time as the preferred candidate? To some extent, Tom Tavares-Finson is getting the support of, shall we say, certain power brokers in the party who are not necessarily part of the political tapestry. They are more in that area of providing funding and other, goodies for the party, and therefore they do have some amount of influence in this area, especially in a constituency which you would realize has it has two aspects to it. There is the lower socioeconomic section of it, including 100 Lane, but then at the same time now you have the Norbrook and you have the Upper St. Andrew elite. Mm-hmm. And I suspect that this is where part of the struggle is emerging from. I suspect that the elite in the constituency would, to me, from all indications, prefer a Tavares-Finson. On the other hand, we have seen where the lower echelons of the constituency in terms of socioeconomic status have been warming towards Seiveright. Mm-hmm. And so that too is part of the power struggle that is going on. And the JLP had better be very careful because it could blow up in its face. And that leads me to my next question, Lloyd B. Smith, and that is the whole matter of what is going on at the candidates level. Will it have some impact, you believe, in terms of voter confidence and even mobilization within the constituency?
Well, optics, as you know, in politics, can play a very pivotal role, especially in an election context. If history has shown that any party that appears to be falling apart meaningful way, and remember that there are some other constituencies where the JLP is also having some difficulty determining candidacies. This could, in fact, from an optics point of view, affect the party in a way and put a dent in its armor. The JLP has been boasting for quite some time that it is unified and that it is rearing to go in the next general election. But with these latest events, that doesn't seem to be the case. Clearly, there is some amount of, shall we say, angst in the party. And one wonders which the party leader, Andrew Holness, has his fingers on all the pulses.
All right.
Leadership is being challenged in an indirect way.
Wow. Let me turn my attention now, Lloyd, to the matter of the persistent rumors about former PNP MP Lisa Hanna possibly aligning with the JLP. How much weight should we give to these reports?
Well, there's a saying in Jamaica parlance that if it not goes so, it nearly goes so. I am not going to put much weight on it at this point. Let's recall that Lisa, in fact, was a JLP stalwart for quite a while. She and her former husband, David Panton, became poster, shall we say, children poster of the JLP at some point, and then out of the blue, that fell apart, and Lisa eventually was wooed by Portia Simpson Miller to go to Southeast St. Anne, where, from all indications, she did not do very well politically. In fact, in the last election, where the JLP had such a massive victory, she was barely able to hold on to the seat, which is traditionally one of the safest, if not the safest, PMP seat over these many, many decades. So with that kind of political record, I don't know if going to the JLP would give the JLP any major political fillip. It might just be another cosmetic incident. You know, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, but when you come down to the whole politics of the thing, remember she had challenged, well, not really challenged, but she had put up herself as a candidate for the presidency of the People's National Party and lost to Mark Golding.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, to have lost interest in further serving the PMP in any meaningful way, although in Parliament she was given the portfolio of, I think, foreign affairs and foreign trade, which she did not do much with, really. In recent months, she has been appearing in The Observer as a regular columnist, and on social media, you know, she has been profiling. I don't see much what she can bring to the party apart from maybe a colorful role, because in the final analysis at this stage, it would be foolhardy for the JLP to put her in controversial seats.
So you don't see any real strategic benefit of a Lisa Hanna leaving the PNP, heading over to the JLP ahead of a general elections?
Well, let's put it this way. Although she has not officially left the PNP,
yes,
it is clear to most political observers and persons close to the political ground that she has, in fact, moved away from the PMP. So if it were now that she should come out and publicly put her position on the table, then it would not really come as a surprise. Mm-hmm. It would perhaps be seen as, yes, well, we were expecting this all along. But as I said, the JLP may see it as strategically, ruffling the feathers of the PMP. But in terms of the general election, which is going to be very close and which is going to be fought constituency by constituency, I don't see at this point where she has any pivotal role to play in terms of changing the fortunes of the PMP, or for that matter, the JLP.
And you obviously don't think it would. You're not expecting that she would be thrust into the same North Central St Andrew constituency should she make the switch.
That would be. I don't know. That would be most unexpected and perhaps strategically, wrong and politically. I mean, I don't know how Mr. Samuda would take it, because we must not underestimate the influence of Karl Samuda in that seat, you know. Mm-hmm. It is his, as I said, little fiefdom. He has ruled that constituency for decades. And he's a very smart, he's perhaps one of the most wily and smart politicians that we still have in Jamaica. He must not be taken for granted. And in all of this, he could be the one who finally pull the rug from under the feet of the JLP if, in his view, he has not been respected, because whoever gets the seat will form part of his legacy. And therefore he would want to be, if not, shall we say, the kingmaker. And if he's not allowed to be the kingmaker in this case, then we could see a major fallout in that constituency. And let's not forget now that there's a very bright young lady by the name of Knight, who I think is the daughter of KD Knight, a PNP stalwart, who we gather is in fact creating some amount of excitement in the constituency. And, that again would make this entire affair become part of the very interesting constituents to watch leading up to the election.
Most definitely. We'll be talking a lot more as time progresses. But Lloyd, I want to thank you for your time and your thoughts this morning, and I wish you a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Richie. All the best with your program and your new, as usual, you always think out of the box.
Yes, sir. And we always have your support. We know that. Thank you very much, Lloyd B. Smith.
Absolutely. Take care.